Nottingham Forest lose to PSV 1-0. But it doesn't matter because why? We got minutes in the legs. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are. Whatever time of day you're watching this, hope you're doing well. And welcome to Grumpy Old Reds as we look to discuss, probably very briefly, the PSV game. Did I say PSG again in the intro? I probably did, but whatever. And then we got some transfer updates to give you guys and talk about. But I want to start with, why are you in a Palmeiras top?
Because we've only got one decent player, and he comes from Palmeiras.
Cooper, I've told you not to call me when I'm on stream, okay? I'll get back to you with the tactics. See.
Hope you guys doing well in the chat. Good to see you all in here. In what's proving to be a long day of live content. We've had the watch along that kicked off from 5:15. We've had the FFTV high press video, and now straight into a live GOR stream. And boys, hope you're all doing well. And I want to jump straight into this, guys, right? Got a bit of an agenda, not against anyone, but an actual agenda. And I want to talk about the game first. Ez, I'm going to start with you, yeah? We're 5 games into the pre-season.
Yeah.
What have we learned?
I'm glad you came to me with this question because I have learned fuck all. Nothing. What have we learned? And we're talking about this Premier League series that's going on over in the US at the moment. The football's been fantastic, and end to end, you're seeing the new players coming in, you're seeing new tactics. Well, I don't know what we're learning other than we are going to be low block all season. I can't see any difference. I can't see any change in the way we've played. I can't see any players coming in that are really changing our formation or changing his ideas. It's the same old, same old. So what have we learned? For me, nothing so far, mate. I hope you guys have learned something, but yeah, not for me, nothing.
Well, shall I open it up and say, well, actually, Anna, I'm going to ask you more generically because obviously you've had your summer vacays and you're back, yeah? I know you've been watching the games.
One now.
But what have you learned looking back over the 5 games, Anne? Is there anything that's stood out to you?
I think Ez was very eloquent with the way he put it. I wouldn't have said that. I would have just said fuck all, basically. It's been a total waste of time, in my opinion. Look, everybody knows that I was the kind of probably most positive last season. Certainly the most willing to give Cooper a chance.
Yeah.
Well, as I said to Dino and the rest of you last time, I would give him last season. That's it now. He's had his season. He had a hard task. He's had his season, but now it's time to produce. There's no more excuses up. And what I've seen so far has been no different. To the worst of what I saw last season. I've actually no progress, none. We're worse now than we were at the end of last season. At the end of last season, I was full of optimism. I was bright and I was excited. And I couldn't wait. You know, now, don't care. It's going to be another crap season and we'll probably get relegated. But all our friends will still say, we trust in Cooper. So there you go.
All right. I mean, I get what they're saying, Dino, but I guess I want to flip it around and I want to just look at it from Cooper's planning of this preseason, really. Okay. What is he doing is really my question. I'm not saying like what is he doing. I'm literally asking, what is he doing? What's the tactics behind this? Is it that annoying, stupid minutes and leg line we're hearing, or are we seeing what he's planning to set up against? Because we do have some hard games to start with, and is he just basically drilling it into them for those 4 away games?
No, he don't have a plan.
Wait, sorry, Dino, one sec. Can everyone else hear me?
It sounds a bit like you've got
in a bucket.
Like you've got no effects on it, no bass, no nothing. It just seems very dry.
I'm going to leave and come back and see what's going on.
Yeah. People can hear your proper voice now instead of the one that you modulate with bass and stuff.
Yeah, your squeaky voice.
Oh, I know why. Hold on.
Okay, is that better? Is that better?
That's better. Yeah.
Do I sound
Sound like a
do I
man
sound-
now.
Yeah, do I sound like sorry Mike now?
better.
Sorry,
About a
Dino, go
tenth
on.
as much. About a tenth, which is pretty good.
You
Mate. It's pretty good. I'd be happy with that. Sorry.
Hey Dino, you're live, mate, and I've asked you a question.
I know. I've got somebody ringing the door, somebody calling the phone, and Owen said, "Are you on a call?" Right. No, he doesn't know what he's doing. To be brutally honest, I'm definitely got no faith in Cooper this season. For me, he should have been playing his strongest team straight away. There's still, I don't know why he's playing people like Drager in the early friendlies, because he's not going to get a look in. It's just beyond me, really. You look at the summer series in the Premier League in America, those guys are prem ready. You look at, if anybody's seen those games, all those teams, all of them, without any exception, are ready for week one Premier League. We're nowhere near. The football's been exciting in America. It's been attacking. And we just haven't got any of that. And now he comes out sort of saying he wants more players. He had frigging 30 players last year. How many more does he want? Other clubs don't get that luxury that we've got a good owner, that will dip his hand in his pocket. He's just making excuse after excuse after excuse. So sorry, he's got to prove to me that he should be the manager of Nottingham Forest personally. Because I agree with Adam. He's had all last season. He's come out a hero last season. I don't know how. And the pre-season
you got to be fair to him. His task was to stay up. Yeah, whatever means possible. Yeah, and look, I don't agree with the style of the football, but I can see why he got hero worshipped for staying up. Because at the end of the day, look, there's some of us who've never seen Premier League. Obviously, me being 21, I've never seen Premier League football before. Yeah, so you can understand that. But the point you're making here, Dean, I think is the length of the what's the word I'm looking for here? Is the tolerance level going to be smaller from Marinakis come this season?
Yes, I think it is. Can I just counter what you've just said about his job was to keep us up? His job was to keep us up before we signed all these 30 players. He should have got a song out of. He's got 30 to choose from, God's sake, and the ones that were already there. We should have been aiming higher. After those 30 players come in, we should have, okay, we should be halfway up the table. But the football's been shocking. The football's been shocking in the pre-season. I don't think Marinakis is going to hang around. I think Cooper's been dealt an unfortunate start to the season. How many points we're going to get out of the first 4 or 5? Really? And that's not been negative. How many points are anybody going to get against those teams?
Yeah.
And I just think that he's going to be found out. And some of these, some of the fans that absolutely love him, I think he'll eventually find out. He's turned into Hooten ball for me.
Oof. All right, and I want to flip
wasn't
that
in the
round.
Championship, but he is now.
And let me flip that around a little, because what we get in the comments, anytime anything analytical is done on a match, where we're taking the match in isolation, not one of us here, is anyone here pissed about the score result, by the way? Is anyone bothered? Oh, you are? Okay.
Not really.
No.
Performance.
You are. Did you expect us to beat PSV?
No. I just like us to win. That's all.
Yeah, okay, but you're not going to lose sleep over us not winning, are you?
No, I won't lose sleep over it, no.
Okay,
Of course not.
but as always, I want to give the other side of the argument, right? The other side of the argument is these are the points we always get. Minutes and legs for the preseason, yeah. Shop windowing fringe players to go elsewhere, and basically trust in what Cooper's doing. So, Ant, do you want to address this on minutes and the legs? I know it's your favorite topic.
Yeah. It really, really, really does drive me up the wall. That's what fucking training's for, right? You have training to put minutes in legs. The theory about pre-season is to get the players used to playing with each other, to try out new systems, and to hopefully get some momentum going into the new season. We're doing none of that. As for, sorry, did you just want me to speak on that? Or do you want me to go on about the?
You do what you want, boy.
Yeah, the shop window. Who are we shop windowing? Who?
Very good question.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't give a shit about whether we can sell Drager for 3 million quid or not. I need our players to get used to playing with each other. We bought a new player, Elanga. He should be playing 90 minutes every game. 90 minutes every game to get used to the players around him. We shouldn't be playing players that we intend to sell. We shouldn't be playing players that aren't intended to be part of the first team squad. Absolutely pathetic. It's pathetic. All we're doing is putting out a mishmash of players, playing a mishmash of tactics and achieving nothing. We know no more now than we knew before pre-season started.
So
there's other things as well, but I'll leave them for later, like Henderson and all that lot. I'll leave them for later. But
I'm here.
Is everything
You can't see me, but you can hear me.
Yeah, okay, Ez. Forgot what I was going to say. I literally forgot. Now, I was going to say, if these are we expecting, because it's 5 games in now. I remember complaining after the Valencia game how poor we were looking, and everyone was saying, "Yeah, we still got the Levante games to come. We still got the game today, etc." Are we not when are we going to expect to see what the first team is, or is that the first team? And guys in the chat, do you think that's close to the first team now that we're expecting to see come the Premier League and the tactics?
May I just say something before Ez jumps in, and he can piggyback on the back of it if he thinks.
Go on.
Today was the first proper match for me. We played PSV Eindhoven, a decent side. What the hell are we doing playing Notts fucking County, Levante, and somebody else, Valencia? You look at teams like Brentford. They're playing Chelsea and Newcastle and Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Who's organising these pathetic, useless, and they are useless because there's no point in playing Notts County. If you beat them 10 minutes, it means nothing. And if you lose, well, minutes in the legs. You know what I mean? They don't mean anything. Get over to America and start playing some proper games against proper teams. We should be playing the likes of Barcelona and play teams like that. We are Nottingham Forest.
I don't want to see that, mate. Fuck me. No, I don't want to see that. Could you imagine what the scoreline would be?
Yeah.
Hopefully, we wouldn't be playing a bunch of no-opers against them if that was the case. Anyway, I'll leave it for Ez.
Go on, Ez. Is this the team we're going to see and the tactics we're going to see?
You would have hoped with 3 games to go now, you'd start seeing. I think shape-wise, we are seeing what we're likely to see against Arsenal, but there's definitely players that would be in the first team that aren't available at the moment. But it's still the same old crap. I was hoping to have seen some sort of plan B at some point during this preseason, and I thought we were seeing it in a shape against Notts County. But the play is still poor. We still bypass our midfield. We don't trust each other on the ball for some reason. So it's still really no change from what we saw towards the end of the season. And if we're going to go on improvement this season, we do need to see improvement in the play. Yes, Cooper did what he needed to do to keep us up. He did enough to keep us up. But I think Marinakis isn't that patient from that point of view. I think he wants to see good football as much as the rest of us do. And I know there's people out there who say, as long as we do enough to get the points, they don't care how we play. But I do. And I think most of us do. And we're not seeing any inspiration. And that's what I kind of want to see. Yeah, our selection of pre-season friendlies is poor. It has been poor for the last few seasons. And it's like we're getting the dregs of what's left, but there's big tournaments around the world. Yeah, we're not being invited to them yet. We need to get on that a waiting list or something because it's poor because from a point of
we'll never know. We'll never know how that sentence finishes.
You can do that in the training. You can go for a 10-mile run if you want to. That's getting minutes in your legs, but you need match fitness. And I don't see where we're getting that at the moment with these pre-season friendlies. I don't know what.
Okay, Dino, on the point of what we're seeing at the moment, there's a couple of worrying things for me. It's not about the performance or anything. I want to talk about specific players. Now, let's make the assumption. We'll talk about the details of Jono in a second in terms of transfers and what have you. But in this formation, I'm struggling to see, and chat, I need your help here, because I don't know if Dino has the answer to this, honestly. And I don't mean because he's an idiot. I mean, because I don't know if he knows the answer, right? Where would Jono and where would Elanga, and let's say Scarpa as well, fit into this narrow formation? Because we've now seen it for 4 games in a row out of the 5. So logic would dictate that Cooper is leaning towards this formation. Is Jono not gonna, fit in? And what's the point of the Alanga signing if we're gonna play like this? And chat, what do you think?
If we were playing a system that could mean that these players, like the wide players that we're interested in, because we've been interested in Iheanacho, obviously Alanga's there, obviously Aina can play both positions, obviously Powell can play that position as well. Then we've obviously got Nico on the right, we've got Jono. It makes no sense, and MGW as well, which we always thought was a number 10. If he's not going to play with that number 10, if he does play these wide players in the wide formation, like a 4-3-3, then great. But if he keeps flipping from this narrow Christmas tree formation to a wide formation, how can players get a run of games? And we've not got that big a squad. Look at the forwards we've got. We've got Awoniyi. What if Awoniyi gets injured? Look who's behind.
He is.
Yeah, but look in the season. Look who we've got behind. Wood and Hwang. I really worry. I think we're in a worse position than this time last year. I really do with the squad. I'm trying not to be negative, but I'm just going to say it as it is. I think we're in trouble this year again.
Telling the truth is not negative. It's telling the truth.
You're basing your opinion on what you're seeing. And the point of this stream is to agree and disagree with it as we do it. But honestly, I'm going through what the chat is saying right now. And most of them saying Dino Defo. Trapper's saying Defo Dino. Mark saying Defo Dino. Are you guys feeling in the chat? Well, I'll do a poll. Are we in a stronger position now? Yeah, well, we got to have our inaugural first poll of the day.
We want to poll.
Yeah, but are we in a worse position, chat, now than we were at the end of the season? I mean, if you just did it on players, we've lost Lodi, we've lost Henderson. We'll talk about the Henderson situation in a minute. We're still missing a CDM. There's a lot of missing parts to it, isn't there? And yes, the window's open for another month. But are we going to get the business done in time? That's the worrying thing. But yeah, in terms of that question, I need your answer, Dino. Can he fit them into that formation?
Not with any great success, no. I mean, I know Jono's played up front, but we know, everybody knows in this chat that Jono's not a forward. He's not a striker. Alanga, yes, he can play there, but why buy a wide man? Just buy a striker. It's like I don't know. There's like a missing link somewhere. There's just something missing where he's playing this, and this is a couple of times he's played this narrow formation now, isn't it?
Yeah, four in a row.
4, right? Okay, so he dabbled with a different one the first game, didn't he? He played 4 back.
He played 4-2-3-1 which I was like, here we go. Getting excited.
And then it just leads us into a false sense of security.
Yeah,
I do get playing the 5 back against the big teams, but and hit it on the head. He hit the nail on the head when he said you got to be playing your first squad. The likes of Pau, who are and the others that are the fringe players, they come on for the last 20 minutes. That's the way everyone else does it. That's the way every other club does it. You give your main players your 70 minutes, get them match fit for game 1, and then the others can catch up.
That is such a spot on comment. And I was talking to Twist about Man U's preseason, and I've actually watched a few of those games. I watched the Arsenal game when they played them, and a couple of others, just because I've been, obviously stuck with that idiot. But anyway, I said to him, how are you guys lining up your preseason? Like, what's your starting team? Are you blooding kids? Are you doing what? And he goes, Ten Hag started with close to his first 11. He'd play him for 45 minutes. In the second game, they got 60. In the third game, they've had 75. And then he'll blood some youngsters on. He said in the first game, they did a full squad swap at halftime and brought the kids on. I can't remember who they were playing. In the second game, that again, but later on. And then I watched Arsenal do the same. I've watched Newcastle, Chelsea all doing the same. Yeah, even the Brentfords and the Brightons as well. They're playing like a core team. Yeah, is that what you would want to see, Ant, with these preseasons?
Everyone else does it.
Common sense. It's common sense. Even if nobody had a preseason in their lives, that's what I would say to do. Your first team, like exactly as you say, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 70 minutes, 90 minutes. You know, the last pre-season game for me should be your squad, your team, and playing in the style you're playing in. You know, I mean, people say, "Oh, it might get injured." And that. You get injured in training. No, you play your full team, playing in the formation that you want to play. Last season, I think our last game was not our last game, or was the one after that?
That was our last game, the under 21s one, wasn't it?
All kids. What was the point in that? What are you learning? Is Hwang going to play for us this season as our striker? So why is he getting all these minutes? I don't get it.
I think, I mean, if we don't get a striker, he'll have to be in the squad.
Well, that is the point. That is the point, isn't it? But doesn't it remind you? Doesn't it remind you last pre-season, as in last summer, not the winter one? We actually ended up playing Lyle Taylor. Probably got the most minutes in that pre-season, and I'm saying it as an observation. Factually, if it's correct or not, I may be wrong, but he was definitely predominant in it. Yet he didn't even make our squad, nor did he get loaned out. And therefore, he ended up, in my opinion, taking minutes from someone else who potentially needed it, especially when we had 22 players at that time to gel. Are we seeing that now, Ant, with the likes of, look, I think Powell's been impressive, but let's be honest, if he starts, we're not, you know, in a strong place squad-wise. Again, with Hwang. And I want to ask Ez, but he's like jumping up and down like a goddamn jackrabbit. What the hell's going on with him? But so I'll ask you on it, Ant. What did you think of Wood today? Because he's been given a number 11 shirt. He's been given a number 11 shirt.
You know what? I'm going to get hammered for this, but I didn't think he was bad. I didn't think he was bad. I know. Listen, I'm not. I'm not a Wood. I'm not a Wood fan. If we could get $1 million for him, I'd get him gone. In fact, I'd get rid anyway, right? So I'm not a Wood fan. But today, because we were so deep block, you've got to give the guy a break. You know what I mean? Again, we learned nothing about what Wood may be capable of, because he was playing in a team that were more satisfied with sticking 5 at the back. And I mean 5 at the back, not 3.
Yeah.
So it's one of them. You can't really sort of slam him too much for today, because we could have had Cristiano Ronaldo up there. If you don't have any ball, then you ain't going to do anything.
Fair point.
So
that's a fair point.
Yeah, but it's certainly not my choice of second striker, if you like.
Yeah. Ant the Hat, another Ant. So many ants suddenly reappearing on stage. Thank you so much for the $4.99. Freezing Stephen Reed out, and where's Omar Richards? Now, on that point, Cooper has said that he is slowly bringing Omar Richards back in, because obviously of his
slow as well.
I don't, any slower and it'd be in reverse. And the whole Stephen Reed thing, Stephen Reed hasn't technically come back in the same position as he was before he left Forest. I can't even remember what his title is. Isn't like Sporting Fitness something or other. So he's not come back as the number 2. You've still got Tatey and the other Reed there. And Ant the Hat is right. Is like, if we brought Reed back, why not bring him back to his strengths and doing what he's done? But yeah, the Omar Richards thing is like, any slower, man, you might as well just put him in reverse. It's just ridiculous.
I don't understand when you say that Cooper said he's bringing him back slowly. It's not bringing him back slowly. He ain't there. That's bullshit. The guy's still injured. I'm telling you, it's not there. If he was not injured, he'd have got a minute. You know what I mean? You don't have to rush him back. Just get him on for a minute to be a start. Yeah. I think the guys. I don't know as we're going to see him, to be honest.
Well, we'll have to see. I want to change the tone slightly, Dino. I want to talk about some of the performances that were good to above average from today's game. Who stood out for you today in the game? I thought there was a couple of decent performances there.
Yeah, I thought Bolly was my man of the match. I thought he was good. And he kind of brought the ball out.
Dino, sorry, mate, but I just, because I agree with you, I thought he was really good today. There was one bit where Sangare went through doing his muscle man big guy, and then he met Bolly and he went down. That made me laugh. But
size always.
Hold on, and I'll get you back in. Go on, Dino.
Sorry, I was going to ask Dino a question. That was all.
Powell, I thought was good when he came on. I liked the look of Aina.
Yeah.
I thought Elanga was poor. Distribution for Horvath was better than any keeper we had last season. Didn't really get to see much of his shot stopping. MGW started well and then just faded, didn't he?
Yeah, he gassed. Yeah.
And that's about it, I think. I thought Aurier, okay. He looked a bit chubby to me, Aurier did.
I didn't think Aurier had a good game. I thought Lang
he
had him on toast, man.
He stepped it up a bit after a couple of early mistakes. But I'm clutching at straws, mate. Bolly, that's it. And for the young kid, Powell, and that's it. That's all I say on that.
Yeah, I thought on Aurier, I thought their best player on the pitch was Lang. And he had... Is this back? I'm getting some pure noises from us.
Yeah, on the toilet.
You're muted, mate. That's what you are. Yeah, I thought Aurier struggled against the pace of Lang. And I think it goes back to this whole thing, Dino, where Aurier for me is a right back and not a right wing back. Yeah. And if he's going to go in the right wing back formation, I probably prefer Nico Williams, who I don't think can play right back, but is half decent at right wing back.
Mate, they've only got to push the ball past him, and he's dead. He's not got the pace, has he, Aurier?
Yeah, and that's what Lang was doing.
Which is what happened in the first half, wasn't it? That player skinned him, left him for dead.
Exactly. So, go on, and you wanted to ask a question.
No, I was just going to say to Dino, because Dino's our high press guy, so he knows everything.
I love that.
I'm sure I read a report somewhere that we were trying to let Bolly go.
Yeah, that
fake news on the
fake news,
max
fake
level.
News.
Fake news.
Fake news from the
retweeting
journalists. Yeah, you got your retweeting journalists that were. Okay, I'm getting an echo.
Hello?
Testing.
Probably might be off airs.
I've muted him. Yeah, but that was fake news from the retweeting journalists. Right. So
okay,
there are plenty
that's
of
good.
them.
I'm pleased about that because I think
also you wouldn't get much money for him. He may as well just let his contract run out. I think he's got a year left on it. So yeah, he's not going. There are links though for Aurier to Saudi. There is some rumors on that one as well. So yeah. Those are the kind of, I agree with those ones that impressed. Did anyone else stand out for you, Anne? I thought Einar started off really well. He looks like he's got a bit of pace about him.
Yeah, that was the one I was going to point out. There's two. There's Bolly, but we know about Bolly anyway. We know what he can do. But Einar, I was quite impressed. And Andy went on both sides as well, didn't he? He started on one side and
he can
ended
play
up on the other side. So he looks a useful player. I've read a few reports about him actually.
Only because he was lost.
in the tactics. I've read a few reports about Ainley that sound very encouraging, what he's capable of doing. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. That could be a good little sneaky buy, that one could. So he looks good so far.
Is he a starter? Because his normal position is right back. That's where he played last season for. I think maybe he's been brought as an emergency left back if we can't get a signing through the door, which he may be capable of.
These two formations are messing us up because we've already spoke about the wingers that won't play when we play narrow. And also with a right and left, but we've kind of got a good right back and a good right wing back. It makes and when they switch positions, they're not very good.
Yeah. And they're played when we're not playing in that right formation.
Basics, tactical basics.
Yeah.
You've got to set on a formation and then tweak it.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't go from a Christmas tree to a 4-3. You just can't. It doesn't work.
Just on that poll, 20% said we have a stronger squad than last year. 64% have said no, and 17% say we have the same squad strength-wise as we did last year. So that's quite interesting to see. So, I mean, I don't want to hang around too much on the game because honestly, I'm getting numb to the preseason games, and I don't want to make them sound like they're over analytical. Look, at the end of the day, in a lot of ways, people are right when they say minutes in the legs, preseason. I've seen Forest have crappy preseasons before. I've seen Forest win every preseason, then have a crappy season as well. It is swings and roundabouts. But what I would say is it is now becoming, over the last 2 to 3 years, preseason tours and preseasons to America, the Far East, etc., do put spotlights on these matches, and there is more hype and more analysis that is done on them than maybe like 10 years ago, where who even knew who Forest or Brentford or whoever were playing, you know. So you do have to take the balanced approach. Now, no one here is saying Forest are relegated off the back of these crappy pre-season matches, but take it as it is. We're just discussing what we're seeing on the pitch, being analytical about it, pointing out the improvement points, and also pointing out the good performances as well. So we're trying to take a balanced approach. Obviously, it's boring and frustrating. I'm talking both about the stream and the actual football now. But yeah, so those are the things there. I want to talk about a more interesting subject now. Is Ez back? Let me unmute. You there?
Hey.
I'm there.
Okay, good.
But,
Welcome
yeah,
back, mate. Welcome back. I want to talk about this.
Nice to be back.
And guys in the chat, I want your opinions on this one. We know we've been heavily linked with Ibrahim Sangare. We know he's the type of player we need. Do you think, following this match, he's looked at it and called his agent up and said, get me the Greek father in a meeting tomorrow morning, I want to sign? Or do you think, and I want to give up my Champions League football next year as well for a place in the Forest team? Or do you think he may have pressed the block button on the phone? Chat, sign or block? Go on,
it's going to, I know it's going to as this one, but let me just slip in a quick one. Right? Did you see him? Did you see him praying? Sangare.
Just before he went on, yeah.
He was talking, and I was mouthing, "Please don't let me go to Forest. Please don't let me go to Forest."
Yeah. So going on to him, I mean, he did what I think like Dino said, he was quiet first off, but then he grew into the game. But he did almost like the conductor role, like it's supposed to be done. He's definitely a player I still want. There is and Wolverine knows a little bit more about this release clause that he's got built in, and it's being triggered in the next 48 hours, I think. So there is an opportunity. And the question is, though, we definitely want him. There's no doubt about that. Forest do want him, and they're seriously looking at him. But would he want to come here? That question I can't answer, because it's whether his passion for the Premier League overrides his need to play in the Champions League, because he's not getting offers from Champions League clubs over here. So that's something he's going to have to come to or make that decision on, whether his need for Premier League football outweighs that. Because let's be honest, you know, how long is it going to be before Forest are in the Champions League? So if that's his lure, then Forest is not the club for him. But Wolverine, you know a bit more about this release clause after 48 hours.
Yeah.
And is it something that, you know, you think we're going to trigger?
Well, I know there's definitely a minimum release fee clause. It's rumored to be between 35 and 37.5 million euros. Some are even lowballing it down to 30. I don't think it's that low, but I think PSV may deal at 30. The one that I can't confirm, but there are rumors flying around of it, is that it has a sunset on the clause, i.e. a expiry date, and that is the 1st of August. So potentially we may be in a better position to know if he's coming or not come the 1st of August. Because if we haven't put a bid in the next 48 hours, he may not be coming. Now, that doesn't necessitate that we can't then get him, because PSV may still want to deal at, say, 30 million for him, irregardless of the clause. But they may want to hold out for that much money, and they may panic about it if that clause is about to die and no one wants to pay the 37.5, etc. But I look at him and think to myself, he's someone who could quite comfortably play in a top 6 team in any league across Europe. We are punching above our weight, if we're objective about it, if we are going to get him. And something a lot of the chat is saying is that why is no one else in for him? Should that be sending off warning signals about him? And the point on that is he was very interested in last season from Man U, Liverpool, and Arsenal, but then he signed a new contract with PSV, and that cooled off the interest. He's not first choice currently for the bigger clubs. We've seen like Liverpool are the ones showing the most interest in him, but he's a backup plan for them. So yes, we can still get him. But Garnet, you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, there's a couple of points. A lot of people in the chat are saying he won't come to Forest, blah, blah, blah. Don't underestimate the power of the Premier League, right?
Yeah.
We can probably double his wages without a second thought.
Yeah.
Also, the Eredivisie is not a particularly prestigious league. The Premier League is. You get far more notice in the Premier League than you'll ever get in. So if he's thinking of getting a bigger move later on in his mind, he might think I stand more chance of getting a move into a bigger Premier League side by being in the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Manchester City have got Rodri. Liverpool are going after Lavia. Chelsea are going after Caicedo.
Yeah.
Arsenal have got Partey and Rice. Where's this big club? Chelsea. Oh, I've already said Chelsea. Haven't I? Name me another club, and I'll tell you they're after. The reason why they're not going for Sanagre is because. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll
Might as well wind you up.
Even Maguire's turned Spurs down. So the reason why we're in with a chance is because the other clubs aren't looking. Even like Villa have got Douglas Luiz. Most clubs have got their CDM.
Yeah,
that is
they got Kamara, who I really rate. He's really good.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the reason why we're in with a chance is because there's not a lot of clubs are going after him. That it's as simple as that. I'll tell you what is interesting. The release clause part. So we're talking about, let's just say 35 million.
Yeah.
For argument's sake. PSV have got a decision here. Because, like you say, when that runs out on August the 1st, are they going to ask for more or are they going to have to accept less? If there's nobody coming in for him, there's no guarantee they're going to get 35 million. So they might think, grab that money whilst they can. Because Dutch clubs need to sell. That's a given.
Yeah.
So they might think, grab that whilst we can. Because it's not going to be sold for 60 million, is he? Even though he may be worth that in our eyes, compared with some of the other talent that's gone for ridiculous prices this year.
Yeah.
So PSV might think that's a good idea. And I don't think... And as for today's match, I mean, I know we're kidding about and that. Sangare isn't going to give a shit about today's match. He knows that it's a pre-season. He knows that half the team aren't there. It's not stupid, you know what I mean? And he might fancy the challenge. So I think we have a chance if we put the bid in.
Yeah, but you make a good case, Ant. Well constructed, mate. Yeah,
Thank you.
That's well constructed. I do agree with a lot of what you're saying. The only thing I disagree with is PSV are under no real obligation to sell him if that clause runs out because they do have him tied down under that new contract. So it's not like he's coming into his final year.
I get that.
And the other draw they have that unfortunately we don't have, maybe next year we will, is Champions League and European football.
Can I just have a very, very quick word on Champions League football? People are always going on about Champions League football. Plenty of top players have been signed to clubs about Champions League football. If you're PSV are a good club, but they're not going to win the Champions League. They'll be lucky to get past the round of 16. So is it really worth spending another year of your life somewhere just to play? And sometimes you play teams in the Champions League that you've never even heard of, like Sheriff. And it's not always this big glamour thing. And if they play somewhere like Real Madrid, they'll probably get tonked. So is it a great attraction? I'm not certain on that.
Yeah, I think it's good on the players.
They like the exposure, don't they?
Yeah. Dino, if you had to pick between the three that are connected to Forest, between Sangare, Tyler Adams, and then Diddy, and chat, this is where you guys are going to get your say here. Who's rank all three in your order of preference there. Who would you go with?
Tyler Adams first.
Really?
Yeah.
Because?
He's got some Prem experience from Leeds last season. I think he's a good player. He's at a good age. I'd have Sangare second and then Ndidi third. What nationality is Ndidi?
Nigerian, I believe.
We've got to watch the African Cup of Nations, haven't we?
It's good.
Same for Sangare, isn't it? He's Ivorian.
Ivory Coast. Yeah.
We really have, because we're already the first team. Actually, if everybody's fit, the first team I think looks pretty good as long as they play them in the right formation. It's beyond that. That's the problem. It goes from being It goes from being good to incredibly weak. That drop off for the second batch of players to come in is so deep.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
Sorry, just quickly.
Sorry,
There's a lot of interesting answers coming up in the chat. It's going to need a poll. The previous poll, only 26% of you think he wants to come to Forest. So I'm going to do this Tyler Adams Sangare poll. But okay, that's interesting. Tyler Adams. What are you saying, Ez?
No, I was going to say, I mean, our squad depth, apart from that run we had in the League Cup last season, which was probably look more than anything else. Our FA Cup was poor. We haven't our second team as such, or our B team, was shockingly bad. You know, there was no coherence when they did. We got absolutely humiliated like Blackpool in the FA Cup. It was embarrassing. So I think we'll have the same problems again. We haven't got a second team. Our first team, yes, as Dino said, on paper is fantastic. But if you don't play them in the right formations and you don't get the shape right, then it's the same old. I can't see any changes really. But if we go, I just wanted to make a comment on Sangare about he could be using. I think players obviously Eredivisie. He's probably achieved as much as he's gone over there. And I say they're not really going to progress past even into the last stages of Champions League. So it's whether he has got that ambition to come to the Premier League, and he could always use Forest like as a stepping stone as such. You know, get into the league, do a couple of seasons with Nottingham Forest, and then one of the big six. And you could easily double your money on players like him. You know, if we can get him in for 30 million, he could be a 60 million pound player in a couple of seasons.
And if they're interested in him, as he would have done a couple of good seasons.
Yeah, but as you're ignoring the question, right? But before you actually answer the question, we got like 340, 350 in here. Thank you all for tuning in, but only 52 likes, guys.
And 52 likes.
I'm glad you reminded me.
Take a quick second while Ez thinks of his answer. If you can remember the question, please take a quick second, hit that like button. It's completely free to do, and subscribe to Forest Fan TV. So Ez, don't avoid the question this time. Sangare, Adams, or Ndidi?
For me, Sangare.
In order.
In order, Sangare, Adams, and Ndidi in that order. But just because I want to just latch on to, I can't remember if Dino said it or you did about the missing link, and I feel like he is our missing link. One of the weakest. We've got good players in midfield, but we bypass them all the time because we don't have that general in that midfield or that conductor like we were supposed to have, but who will find the players, get and make those key passes in the midfield area, because it's just so almost hoot and ball, like Dino mentioned as well. It's really hard to see us progressing in any way what we're playing at the moment, because if it's a couple of passes along the back and then we're launching it long, looking for those Hollywood balls, and it's just not working. We need somebody in there who's going to get their foot on a ball, not be scared to barge past a couple of players if they have to, but will control that midfield. And I feel from a missing link point of view, he would be my number one choice, and I would make that deal even if he treats us as a stepping stone for his future ambitions, because I think we're a great, obviously we're going to be biased, but Forest history and heritage will give him some sort of inkling that we are a great club. But end of the day, we need the Greek father to have the chat. And that's the only way he's going to be sold on this club, because some of our recruitment team, I don't know if they're really up to the task. I think you have to send a big man in and let him do the talking himself.
Yeah,
but he's a player I want. For me, we've discussed him from pretty much early on from pre-season, and he's been our number one target. Certainly, CDM has been our number one position that we feel that we need to fill. And for me, if that's the case, and he's a number one target, you kind of got to. We'll get onto the goalkeeper situation in a bit.
But, that's the next topic.
Other than that, our number one target is a CDM who's going to control that midfield, and I just think he would be that missing link, and he'd fit in perfectly.
I just want to say, Larry, I hope your other half isn't reading all your Felipe comments, and I hope my missus isn't reading them either. And I want to just slightly tweak the question for you. I don't want it to end up being an echo chamber, because there are other channels for that. What I want to ask you is, who would be your favorite of the three? But I want you to make a case for Ndidi. Yeah, even if he's not your favorite, could you see his style fitting into the way Cooper wants to play? Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things. First of all, I think that Dino said Adams first because he knows he'll fit right into our squad.
Yeah.
On the treatment table, because he's injured and God knows when he's going to be back. Right? So there's that to it.
That's tick.
Also, I'd encourage anybody that's not seen Wolverine's analysis of these three guys. It's absolutely brilliant, and you will learn a lot. I certainly knew a lot more after watching his analysis than I knew before. It's down in there. You'll find it. So, having used Wolverine's analysis, because I can't say I've watched a lot of Ndidi recently. I think that he's a more defensive player. So if you want a pure defensive CDM and you're not worried about passing out from the back and you're not worried about traveling with the ball and all that sort of jazz, which makes a CDM better. If you want the basic defending midfielder, then Ndidi is your man. So yes, I wouldn't object to Ndidi coming in. But it wouldn't be my choice.
Does he suit Cooper's style better than the other two?
He probably does. To be honest, he probably does. If I'm honest,
yeah,
because Cooper loves a deep block, as I think we know, and Ndidi's ideal for a deep block because he doesn't have to go anywhere. He's happy just to sit there and defend, which, as I say, is great. He's a good player, but he's not what I would like because I like to be like the most of us. I think like to be a bit more progressive, give us a chance of scoring a goal every now and again.
So who's your choice out of the other two then?
Sangare. But I certainly wouldn't mind Adams. But Sangare for me is the most progressive.
Yeah.
He can do both.
Yeah.
Whereas it's almost like you've got Sangare that can do everything. Then you've got Adams that can do some of it very, very well. And then you've got Ndidi that's the most basic at the back who just defends.
That's the exact. That's like the layman's. In a nice, I'm not saying layman, I'm saying that would be the headlines, probably is the better word, of how you would describe all three of them. Exactly that. And then take your pick of how much you want of each. Okay. So the chat, you guys want Sangare with 67%. 25% of you want Tyler Adams. I think that would be slightly higher if he wasn't injury prone / injured. And 8% want Ndidi. Now, both Tyler and Sangare were on the initial shopping list video we did early on in the summer. So personally, I'd be happy with either of them. But there's something about Sangare that I think just got that little fairy dust on him. Okay, speaking of fairies,
he's big as well, isn't he? He's got that physique.
He's a big lad, isn't it?
Yeah. It's imposing, even for the opposition. As soon as they see him lining up, they've got to think, bloody hell.
Exactly. Imagine him and Bolly on the same pitch. All right, let's talk about this keeper situation because this is starting to become critical, Dino. The keeper situation right now is Forest seem to have stalled a little in the negotiations of Man United. They've seemed to have agreed on a loan deal with an obligation to buy. But the sticking point is, for any of you who haven't seen the videos this week, is the amount of games that need to be played before the obligation kicks in. Now, Manchester United want it more towards the 5-game mark. Yeah, flashbacks of Chris Wood. Forest want it more of the 30-game mark. Again, probably flashbacks to the Chris Wood scenario. And then the reports today are, and this has come from Romano, that Forest will be getting one of two, not two. They're looking for potentially one of Dean Henderson or now Turner and not Hooch from Arsenal. What do you think about both the keepers? Would either one be good for us, or do you have one preferred over the other? What are your thoughts on like Turner and
Honestly,
Hooch?
I don't know anything about Turner, so I can't really say anything about him.
Okay.
And I'll probably help out on that. But I want Dean Henderson back, to be honest. And I don't know why
we're making him out. Is he as good as we're making him out? Because he did struggle with long shots and he did struggle with distribution. Like, are we too sentimental?
Last season. I prefer him over Navas last season.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, I'd agree. Yeah.
I mean, Raya's probably going to be on his bike, but I don't know what his price is.
He's going Bayern. He's linked to Bayern.
Yeah, and he's not going to come.
No, Arsenal have gone straight in.
Arsenal have gone straight in.
Wow. What about Ramsdale? Anyway,
I just think we are delving in the kind of bargain bucket, aren't we? At the end of the day, Henderson. I don't know what Man United are playing at. They messed us up over Garner, and they seem to be messing over Henderson. Now they need the money because they've just bought Højlund for a shed load. They've got an expensive squad now. They've got Mount, You know, they had Timber during Timber, and those three have cost them quite a lot of money.
Timber,
Now, obviously,
that's Arsenal, mate. That's Arsenal blood. That's Arsenal.
Oh, sorry. Who's just signed for Man U at the back?
The goalkeeper, Anana.
Anana, yeah, of course I did the video on him.
How could you forget Anana, mate?
How could you forget him?
Yeah, Anana, yeah. 70,000 views, thanks, Anana. Anana. I like Anana just because of those views. Anyway, so they need money because they need money because they're obviously wanting to sell the club. I'm surprised they've just not snapped our hand off, to be honest. I understand why they want the short thing, but surely we've got to meet just halfway, man. Just like they want 30 games, we want 3 or something like that. Just split the difference and just go for it. Or we've got to move on quickly because I'm not super comfortable going into the season with Horvath as a number 1 because I think Luton had the option, didn't they? And they didn't want him.
Rejected it. They bought a keeper today for $2.5 million.
So
I think, if I remember right
I know he played all the games for Luton last season, but.
Yeah.
Go on Turner and Hooch as the Arsenal fan here.
Yeah. Well, first of all, just very quickly, I had to think about this the other day because I couldn't get into my stupid head why you would put a 3-game obligation to buy after 3 games. And of course, it hit me. It's so simple, really. It's just so you could push the payment. You've agreed to buy. You're going to buy him.
Yeah,
you're going to buy him, but that allows you just to push the payment. It's obviously the same with Endo. I think from what I can understand, Man U was saying 5 games and buy him in January, pay for him in January. We're saying 30 games and pay for him next summer. I think that's the issue, yeah? That's why they want that. I mean, I don't know what we're pissing about at. We were talking about last season, we're going straight in for him with 30 million. And now we're piddling about with 15 million, pay a bit here, loan a bit there. It's driving me up the wall. Turner, people are like giving him a bad rep. I think he's a good goalkeeper. I prefer Henderson 1,000%, but Turner I would happily have as a second goalkeeper. I wouldn't be comfortable having him as a first goalkeeper.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't be comfortable.
I mean, do we need 2 youngsters?
Basically, the guy has no real Prem experience, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
A couple of points. Yeah, a couple of points. So the caution with the Hendo situation is clearly that there's this injury that he's had that we were originally told a couple of weeks is definitely still not out of his system yet. So there's obviously caution from a Forest point of view in terms of, are we going to be able to, if we're stitched after 3, he gets 3 games and then on the 4th game he gets injured again and we're stuck with him. That I can understand that caution. I don't think they're going to agree to that. I think they'll have to meet somewhere in the middle, maybe 20, 25 games. But you can understand it from Nottingham Forest point of view for that caution. All I can say about Turner and all I've seen about him is that he's a ball playing. He's tall. He's ball playing. He does come for crosses as well, which not many Americans do. But like Sana's just alluded to there, I don't know if we can have. I don't know if I'm happy with us having 2 American goalkeepers, 1 and 2 position. And my next question was going to be: are we then happy if what Romano is saying is true? We're only going for 1 more goalkeeper as our number 1. Then are we happy with Horvath as our number 2 going into a Premier League season? For me, he's certainly better than Hennessy and probably a few steps ahead of George Shelby as well, who has impressed, to be fair, but he needs to learn. He's not ready to be a number 2 in the Premier League right now. But what do you guys think on it? Is he good enough to be our number 2 going into the season? And if we're only going for 1 goalkeeper as our number 1 now?
Well, the interesting thing on Horvath is when we went down to Sky, I was talking to the YouTubers from Luton, and I said to him, you got up. Why haven't you taken Horvath? You had the option to buy him. And his words were to me that he wasn't that good. He said that the defense covered his mistakes and he made quite a few mistakes. And that's in the Championship. And I was like, you trolling? Are you being serious? He goes, no, I genuinely am happy that we didn't buy him off you. And that, I always say, judge, your players based on what opposition fans see of them. Yes, they don't see as much of you, but there's always good insight because we do tend to be goggled about certain things. And when he said that, you're like, okay, you can kind of understand that. It's like, how good, for example, I'm not saying he is brilliant, but like Edison, Yeah, how good a keeper is he really? Because he doesn't get tested every game, does he? I mean, Man City do the work in front of him, don't they? So, you know, it's that kind of thing. And the keeper stats can be, the point I'm making here, keeper stats can be distorted because they've got such a great team in front of them, like in the case of Ederson, for example.
De Gea won Golden Glove last season.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, there's all these things to consider. Having heard that from a Luton fan who's talking about Horvath in the Championship over a season's period, you have to give them, you know, some weight in what they're saying. And to have Horvath currently, as things stand, is technically our number one. Yeah, don't forget, it's still got Hennessy knocking around the Hennessy's somewhere. You know, so it is getting worrying, and it is getting close to the cutoff point on it, isn't it? I mean, Dino, would you sell Horvath, or would you have him as a backup? What are your thoughts?
He didn't want us. He wanted to be number one last year, didn't he? Remember?
Yeah, and I still think he's got that.
That's why he went on loan. So we just kicked the can down the road there a little bit.
Yeah.
So is he happy this season to play second fiddle? I don't know. Just because Luton didn't want him, as that sort of tempered his ambition a little bit. He probably thinks he's better than he is, but he you know, he's a. Well, you've got to listen to Luton. They've seen more than we have. They've seen more than we have.
As Wolverine's just said, he's not second fiddle at the moment. He's first fiddle. You know, there's no one else.
We've got to get a goalie in. We've got to get another goalie in.
Exactly. We have to. So at the moment, maybe his head's in the right space. I don't know.
Yeah. Turner's untried, isn't he, really? And how many games has Turner played?
Not many in the Premier League.
Yeah. Just generally. Does he bring him in for the cups and stuff?
Yeah. Carabaos and what have you.
Yeah, I mean, there's clips of him at international level. He had a great game against England in the World Cup, didn't he?
I wouldn't risk a keeper. I wouldn't risk a risky keeper. I think you've got to have somebody solid.
Yeah, but the argument
there's loads of keepers in Europe, man. Oh.
Yeah, but look, you can't compare like for like. But Martinez was back up at Arsenal. Yeah, and look what he went on to achieve when he moved to Villa. So it can't just be a blinkered. His second choice.
He had that great 11 games at the end of the season. That's what did it.
Yeah.
Do you know anything more about the actual offer? I mean, all I've heard is that we're interested in him, and from that Romano tweet, has any bid been put
shout out to Ryan here. He's put up Forest are only willing to spend 12 mil to sign Turner. Arsenal have set a price tag of 18. I don't know. I can't verify this, so I don't know. But
yeah, so does anybody else? Apart from, does anybody else? Do you want to go first, Des? I don't mind, mate.
No. Go on. Carry on.
I was going to say, does anybody else, apart from me, feel that Forest have really fucked about with this transfer with Henderson, and we should have gone in as soon as the season finished? Said, here's 20 million, take it or leave it.
Yeah,
and if they said no, walk away and see if they come back, because they need to sell Henderson. Henderson doesn't want to play for them; they will not play him. Yeah. So and there's nobody else going in for him. So for me, we should have gone in, said, "There's your 20 million, mate. We want him."
Yeah, take
and
it
then given it a few days, and if not, said, "Okay, we'll look elsewhere." And then see if Man U come back to you and say, "All right, we'll accept it then." Because I think they would have done. That's my personal feeling.
I kind of agree with Sonny's saying here. I think maybe the issue wasn't Man United, even though there was the whole De Gea thing going. And maybe it is understanding the finances. You know, because we are tight. We are tight. Like it or lump it. FFP, and they're taking it seriously. I know some clubs don't and what have you, but I have said from the start of the window, not only should we have said 20 mil, and I said we should have said, here's 15 plus 5. You've got until the 1st of July to get back to us, or we're pulling out. Because goalkeepers, as much as I like Henderson, a goalkeeper, as long as he can save the ball and pass it out to a red shirt, that's all you really want from him, yeah? Yes, you get the English, you get the homegrown, you get the passion with Henderson, yeah? But honestly, Livakovic, 8 mil he went for.
Leave it alone.
I'm just saying, but that's the point. That's the point I'm making here, yeah? So although a goalkeeper is extremely important, it gets boring to talk about goddamn goalkeeper. It's not the most exciting position.
Do we undersell, though? To be fair, do we undersell what a goalkeeper can bring to side? When Forest got promoted, the first signing we made, 285,000, the record, was for Peter Shilton. That guy won us things. He won us things. Yeah. So there is a level, isn't there, where Onana for Man U, I believe, will help them to achieve. He's totally alters the way they play. I hope you're right. I hope they get relegated, but you know.
I will say this on your point on goalkeepers. Back in the day when we were getting Shilton, etc., goalkeepers, the vision people had of goalkeepers was to be goalkeepers. Now they want them as sweepers. And for me, still a goalkeeper, I prefer them to be able to save the damn ball and then distribute it out. I don't expect laser passes every time, but start with the basics before you start wanting a freaking, a biscuit style passer from the back.
Yeah.
And I think,
a goalkeeper
Pep does it because
stopper and catch the ball. That's all you want.
Exactly.
But what takes the goalkeepers on to the next level as regards price is that ability to play out from the back.
Yeah, but we're going to play three central defenders, so surely we're better with a ball playing central defender. Surely,
exactly.
That would make sense. Yeah.
And the other thing is, and the point you're making there is spot on. However, you have to be an attack or a tick-attacker style football team to have the necessity for that. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
There's no point in having a goalkeeper who can pass out and play a high line. He'll end up higher than our freaking defensive line.
As long as he can pass it 5 yards, he's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
He don't need to pass it 5 yards because that's where the defenders will be.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I just pick you up on a point? Sorry, Wolverine, about the passion.
Yeah.
Dean Henderson's got the passion stuff.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm sick of hearing that, to be honest. I'm sick to death of us picking players that fit into we're all mates. Have you seen they're all mates? Play football, man. Roy Keane wasn't anybody's mate. Stan Collymore wasn't anybody's mate either. He used to travel to away games in a car on his own. He never sat on the bus.
Yeah.
I couldn't give a shit. They just got to do the job.
You don't watch Ted Lasso, do you?
Thing. I'm just starting to get on my tits.
No, you're spot on, Dino. You're spot on because Dino, would you rather have someone?
Yeah, but with shit.
Dino, would you rather have someone who is passionate or someone who is good?
Someone who's good.
Exactly, isn't it?
What if they're good and passionate though? That's the magic thing, isn't it?
Put those hands together, isn't it? And
but we're definitely guilty. We're definitely guilty.
Irony there, Dino. Dino's being passionate about the passion.
Angry, I think it is, not passion.
No, we're definitely guilty of giving him too much, being too sentimental. We've given him too much, haven't we? In terms of what have we really got back from Dino? He's not Dino, but Dino. What we really got back from he had a few good performances. He had a couple of penalty saves. But we've kind of we've overhyped him again, haven't we? And it's like if we've just put all our eggs in one basket, we've only got ourselves to blame. But we haven't made an offer. The
thing is, this Henderson deal shouldn't be difficult because Man U want rid, so it shouldn't be difficult.
Yeah, it's his injury. That's what's caused the difficulty.
He was fully fit.
At the end of the season, we've had this conversation.
Yeah, I agree. But I was going to say to you about that it's quite rare for a goalkeeper to get a muscle leg injury. It's quite rare. Most goalkeepers play all the games and they're
not with Forest, mate.
No, yeah, exactly, yeah. But so how good does your number 2 have to be? Because it's very difficult to get a good number 2 because he knows he's not going to play.
I had a good number 2 today, mate. Sorry.
Can I listen? I love Henderson. I love him to come back. That's what I started off with. I'm just sick of the
Don't worry about that prick, man. He always does that. But yeah, what I did like was this comment from Ryan. Jesus, Dino, you're depressing me right now. The fact that you use Jesus, Dino's talking about the passion. He could end up with the Jesus whole passion narrative. But anyway, okay, let's move on from Hendo because we got the other big one to talk about, right? Jono and Spurs. This is now the link that's starting to gather some pace. And the actual price that is being chucked around is more towards the £50 million mark, right? Can anyone see this happening? I don't know who I'm throwing this to. I'll throw it to all three. Who wants to take this one?
Go on, then
I see it happening. I can see it. Go on, you jump in.
No, go ahead, mate. You go.
No, I was going to say I can definitely see it happening. I think I just can't see. I can't see Daniel Levy handing over a single fucking penny. So if he goes for 50 million, mate, don't negotiate. Just fucking take it because I don't trust him not to fucking pull out of the deal. So if he would suit Spurs actually, he would actually suit them. But we need play. We clearly we clearly need the balance, the FFP
Books.
to balance out. And we've always said about Jono, he's 100% on your balance sheet. As a homegrown player, anything we get for him is just pure profit. So obviously, I don't want to lose any of our players, but we're clearly in a situation where we're not able to seal deals. You know, where we're having to ask Man United to do us a fucking favor over the Hendo deals.
Yeah,
So there's obviously something not right. And if we need to free up, we're not beyond being a selling club yet. We're definitely not. We're 2 or 3 seasons away from that for sure. And he's our prized asset. Maybe he's the most sellable asset at the moment. 50 million, mate. I'll snap Levy's hand off for it. 100%.
We've done too many polls.
You would, guys. But you're a massive Jono fan.
Exactly. I'm seeing what's going on right now.
About 50 million.
I'd let him go for 50 million. Yeah, 50 million straight up with additions. But if he's offering 50 million for him, because I don't think, well, obviously I don't think Villa want him. Moussa Diaby is a higher level than Brennan Johnson right now, anyway, in my opinion. But they're not going to really want another player in there in that position. The fact that Tottenham are interested and Brentford haven't got the minerals to really go through with a bigger deal than 35 million. I don't think they're not going to improve their offer, even if he is interested, even if the rumours are true and he's spent time down there and he's had a chat with them. The money's got to talk.
Why would you go to Brentford? Why would you leave Forest for Brentford? Why? They've not got a single thing that's better than us apart from the Finnish Islands.
I agree.
Ground, support, love, money.
Maybe he wants the London lifestyle. You know, at his age, that London lifestyle could be attractive.
He's never thought he is that type, has he? But you might be right.
Maybe.
But can I tell you why I don't think
that's all I've got, yeah.
I don't worry about Spurs because they've got Kulusevski. If Kane stays, they've got Kulusevski, they've got Richarlison on that right-hand side. Why would they want Jono as well? It makes no sense.
Well, they're saying as the direct replacement for Kane, which is a bit weird because I don't see him as No, seriously.
Can you do a special analysis on the similarities between Kane and Jono? It shouldn't take long.
I've just done it just then. It was just so quick, millisecond. Listen, at the end of the day, it's whether Jono wants to go or not. If he wants to leave, he can go for me. If he wants to stay, he can stay for me. But then there's this tactical thing, isn't there? We're not playing with. Let's say we play 20% of our games next season with a 4-3-3 or a variation of. And what's the point in keeping him? You may as well cash in on him.
Yeah.
Unless he wants to railroad him into another stupid position like he seems to do.
I love this. Have we done enough polls yet? I want to ask Ant on your general opinion on Jono, because obviously we haven't had it from you yet. Before I do, just a quick reminder, there's like 350 odd of you in here. Thank you so much for being here. Please, if you haven't already, just take a quick second to hit that like button. Subscribe to FFTV if you are new. This time next week, these 2D images you see in front of you will all be 3D images. Well, this time a couple of hours ago.
We'll be asleep.
Yeah, we'll be out. But don't forget, we are only 7 days away from the FFTV podcast and live podcast and barbecue. So if you want a ticket and you haven't got it already, !BBQ in the chat. The link is there. They'll take you to it. £5 for admission. There will be a barbecue there. There'll be obviously the drinks if you want to grab yourself a drink. We will be doing a quick. Well, we'll have an hour beforehand where we're sitting down just chatting with you guys. Maybe Ant will start touching you lot just to make sure you're 3D. Who knows? And then we'll sit down. We'll do a live podcast. But as always, it will be like this in 3D. We want your interaction in there. We'll have mics out in the audience. And we've got 120 quid's worth of club shop gift vouchers, which we'll raffle out during the event as well. I think Dino's got them there somewhere, unless he's already spent them. They're all there ready to go. So we'll be raffling those out. Might be a couple more prizes as well that we put together. It's just going to be a laugh. It's going to be fun. And of course, on that Sunday, we would have finished all our friendlies because the last game, which is Frankfurt, I believe will be the day before. And we will only be 6 days away from the Premier League kicking off. So it's going to be a great time to get all your guys thoughts and everything there. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, hurry up. Also, a couple of you have asked me, can you get the tickets on the door? Yes, you can. So we've confirmed that with the Trent Nav. You can just turn up, buy your tickets on the door, and in you come. but we're gonna try and make it as fun as possible. It's gonna be our first inaugural one that we do. So let's see how it goes. As always with these things, we'll just wing them as they happen. But there is a little bit of structure to it as well. And just to remind you, it will be doors open from 3 p.m. and it'll be going on for a good few hours after that. Sorry. You're on mute, bud. You're on mute.
I am a mime.
I was going to say I will answer that question, but also wanted to point out I would like to mention the interactive nature that we want to do with the live stream as well, with asking them questions or bringing it up on the. Yeah, there'll be a screen where we'll have your questions coming in, so you'll be able to type them live. We'll give you a little code and a link where you can get the questions on there as well if you don't want to talk on the mics. It's just going to be fun. It's going to be fun in general.
Sounds rather fancy to me.
It does. It does.
Just to answer Steve's question. So I'm carrying on the series where we're talking about the Premier League predictions, which I started with Dino last week. And the next guest on my hit list is my man to my right or my left. Well, I can't do my rights and left. But Ant, you're joining me, aren't you, for our next look down the Premier League predictions, and looking to do that on Tuesday night. So we'll do it as a premiere after the watch along on Wednesday, which Sanad will guide you in that direction of the premiere. But yeah, look out for that Wednesday evening, and that'll be me and Ant talking about our predictions for the rest of the Premier League going down the table. So yeah, look out for that.
And I promise to talk about other teams apart from Arsenal. I promise.
No, we've done a top six. I can't talk about us. No, joking. We'll do a little bit of
right. Yeah, right. Okay. Speaking of talking about stuff, Ant, what's your general? And I'm just going to put the link in now for you guys for the barbecue tickets, if you want to grab them. And I'm interested to know.
Eddie,
and I'm interested to know
so far. Brilliant.
And I'm interested to know where you are with the whole Jono thing. Do you want to keep him, sell him? Indifferent?
Yeah, for me, just keep him. I think that it's quite important to us. Without Jono, there's that. It does give us a spot, doesn't it? I'm not as massive a fan of Jono as quite a few people. I don't think he's got a gift of football, but I do think that he's got something that we need, which is pace, directness, and goals. So personally, I would keep him. If somebody offered 60 million, I'd say F off. We're not interested. That's me. And yet, that's why I'm surprised at Ed, because Ed is a massive fan.
I am. I'm just thinking long term.
Because what good is 60 million to us? What are we going to do with it? Pay FFP?
Okay. Let me push you on that. So, if we could get Sangare, Henderson, and let's just say Iheanacho, yeah, but the cost is to sell Jono, would you sell Jono?
Yes.
You absolute freaking flip flopper. But that's
the only reason, Anne. That's the only reason I do it. It's the only reason I do it, though. That's the only reason I do it, to be able to get those other players. And obviously, I don't need that sitting in our bank.
My worry is we sell him and don't do anything with the money. That's my worry.
Yeah, of course. No, we've got to be able to do something with the money.
Cost them what? 1.8 million, 2 million, something like that. Look at what they're asking for him now. It's the same with a lot of the ones that have gone this season.
Well, look at the one.
Caicedo's another one, cheap.
What about the Man U guy?
Huh?
What about the Man U guy? 9 goals, 75 million.
Yeah, and I think he was 1.5 million on his last, and he didn't do very well before. Really, I mean, he's a player. I think he's definitely a player in there, but I think they've bought him on potential. He's not the finished article yet.
Or hope, depending on which way you look at it. No, I know what you're saying.
I think he'll be all right. He's a strong lad. He's fast. He's like lightning.
Yeah, but don't you believe, Dino, that when you're paying 75 million, you should be buying an established
Absolutely
machine.
Right. But this window's gone crazy. This is why there's going to be not much shopping on these shores anymore, buying from Premier League clubs, because it's just too expensive. I think people are just going to start buying and doing what Brighton have done and go to South America, Colombia, Cuba, and just start looking at players there because they're going to be cheap and they're going to be talented. Like we've got Scarpa. Oh, hang on a minute. He doesn't play, does he? That's something that pisses me off.
All right, let's go into that. Go. That's the next one. Go.
No,
Scarpa. What a talent. Cooper, what an idiot. And I bloody hope you watch this. I hope somebody sends you this because you're an idiot for not playing Scarpa. He's so good. Why hasn't he got a look in? Is he injured again? Has he tripped off his skateboard or Scarpa shoved his skateboard under him or something? Because I just don't get it. He's talent. Can pass the ball, put it on a 6. He played what? He'd not played for ages. Then he played the other night. There's some great passes.
You know what makes it even worse?
I've never seen all bloody pre-season. Yeah,
You know what
today
makes
he's like
it
on the bench.
crazy,
He's got to be injured, surely.
He's not.
For me, Dino, what makes it even worse is that the guy wants to be here. He wants to play for us. It's not like he's one of these prima donnas. And you think, okay, he loves
I'm
us.
going
And he
to
wants
be a
to play for us.
vigilante if he goes, honestly. I really will.
I'll join you, mate.
It's infuriating, isn't it? And I mean, are you wearing that Palmeiras top over Danilo or Scarpa today?
Both, mate. Both.
Yeah. Do you think he should have been given more game time?
Of course. Come on. He's the most talented player in our squad. Sod your MDW.
Correct.
I don't give a shit. He's the most
Correct.
talented player in our squad. And he doesn't even get... We're playing the likes of Wang and people like that and several others I'm sure we could mention. I can't think of off the top of my head because they're absolute non-entities. And it's Scarpa is not getting a bloody chance. They're playing these bozos instead. Why? I
don't have an answer. I don't. Des, have you got an answer for it? It's baffling.
No, it is baffling. And the list of players that and the hat just mentioned it: O'Brien, Scarpa, Richards, and Barda. Yeah, there's something. He's got this blind spot for certain players, and Scarpa seems to have fallen into this trap again. I don't know what he has to do. He says all the right things, like Ant's just mentioned there. He wants to be here. He's saying all the right things. The fans love him.
You know why it is? Because he's not Cooper's friend, football friend. And it goes back to what I was saying about, we've got this beautiful community. Get the talented players on the pitch.
Yeah,
and he is one of them. Tell me that. Anybody in the chat, tell me I'm wrong, that Scarpa's not a baller.
You know, if you were a football manager, right, and there's 10 minutes to go and you're 1-0 down, and you looked at your bench, and I mean, I like Czech Kyoto, I really like him, but if you're 1-0 down with 10 minutes to go, you look at your bench, would you bring on Kyoto or would you bring on Scarpa?
I mean, would you or would Cooper? What's the question?
Well, if any of us were managers, who would you look? You look at the bench, we're 1-0 down, 10 minutes to go. I personally, call me crazy, I'd get Scarpa on there to get us progressive and get us a goal.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't bring Scarpa on. I disagree. I wouldn't bring Scarpa on. I wouldn't choose him. I'm serious.
He'd already be on.
He'd already be on, mate. Exactly. That's the point here. 10 minutes, wasting that talent for just 10 minutes. Now, come on, man. Come on, he's got to be playing. He's got to be playing.
Skateboard friend.
Yeah. It is. Look, Cooper's done a lot of good things, and he's also done a lot of wrong things. Yeah. Barde, what a mistake that was, as an example. Sticking with Steve Cook for as long as he did last season, ridiculous. Yeah. Starting in the wrong formation. And he's done good things as well. But this Scarpa thing is now turning into a Barde 2.0, man. And it's just, and your point, Ant, that he's rejected moves. How must he feel, right? Yeah. That he's come in, he wants to play, yeah, and he's being told, you can fuck off if you want, mate. And he's rejecting.
Fans cannot believe it, can they? They cannot believe it.
We can't.
It's just unreal. It really is. He must be crap on the training pitch. That's my only defense for Cooper on it. He must be atrocious with those little 2-year-old sized goals that they always use. He must miss every time, you know? It's just unreal. But okay. Let's have this conversation because a few of you guys are mentioning it. Crazy Cat Lady saying, talking of Cooper, do you see him being at Forest at the end of the season? Let's hit Ez with this one. This is an interesting convo.
It's a bit early for a Cooper in, Cooper out, isn't it?
It's not Cooper in, Cooper out. It's a do you think?
Do I think? If we don't see massive improvements, I think the patience levels of the Greek father will start to wear thin. I think we've discussed that our opening 8 or 9 games, and it's a nightmare opening, and that may buy him a bit more time. But if you're not seeing improvements in the way we play, it doesn't matter. If we see any more of those 4-5-6-0 defeats, especially away from home. And we don't see any improvement in those opening half a dozen games or so. It doesn't matter how hard the fixtures are. I think his time will be limited. I think the patience is wearing thin amongst some of the fan base as well. But end of the day, what's kept him in his job?
I disagree on that point.
No, I still
wavering thin.
I think it is. I think it will if the performances don't improve. I think we've put up with the fact that we got enough points last season, but I think nobody enjoyed watching Forest last season. It's certainly not as Forest fans. So if you look at the outsiders, we're one of the worst teams to watch. We're appalling, and that's going to have to play a part at some point.
One second.
I don't know.
One sec. Chips, you're saying change the record. Literally, someone asked it in the chat. We're not going to shy away from conversations. And no one here has said Cooper out for this season, by the way. This is just a discussion. Okay?
But to answer Crazy Cat Lady's question, if it doesn't change, I don't see him lasting the season. The performances have to change as well as a result. So, if that away form, for example, doesn't improve massively, then, I can't see him lasting the season. Anyone else?
What do you reckon, Dino? Cooper, has he got the season in him? Where's the patience level?
Got a horrible start, hasn't he? Really. So he's going to be under a lot of pressure. And I don't know, Eddie said it, 10 games. I think the decision will be made after 10 games. I think if he's got some good results, he'll stay and he'll be there for the rest of the season. But, for those supporters, and we're all entitled to our own opinion. So I'm not knocking your opinion if you like Cooper's football. But for me, personally, I don't like the mediocrity that we have as a club. We don't seem to have any ambition. We seem to be happy just bobbling along around the bottom because Cooper's such a lovely guy. And what he did, which 2 years ago, which will turn into 5 years ago, which will turn into 10 years ago, and it'll become another 20 years. He can't live off that forever. It's like a striker. None of you would forgive a striker if they'd not scored for 10 games. So why does Cooper get away with it?
Sorry to interrupt you, Dino. Ian, I refer you back to the fucking point I just made. Anyway.
Why do you trust? Why? What has he shown you, Ian, was it? What has he shown you that you think this club's on the up? If you can answer me that,
I will argue, like, the argument back I'd give you is there's definitely unity behind the scenes in terms of players, staff, and the cohesion into the family.
Not if you're friends.
Where's that got us?
Technically, you could say it's kept us in the Premier League.
Okay, well, we'll see this season, won't we?
That's fine. That's fine. I started my when I first came on with last season. I was prepared to give Steve Cooper the benefit of the doubt because he had a hell of a difficult job. He had all those players. It's the first time in the Premier League. It's a bloody hard division. It's the hardest in the world, etc., etc. But I did say this season I'm not going to be that forgiving. And the thing that slightly concerns me, in a way, is that, bizarre though it may seem, this beginning of this season is almost ideal for Cooper because he won't be expected to get any points from
that's a good point.
So he could lose game after game after game after play. Even if he plays terribly and we get heavily beaten. Well, by heavily, I mean 3-0, something like that, not 6 or 7. But a lot of people will just say, no, look at we're playing. You've got to give him another. And then that's like, 10 games. People talk about 10 games. That's a quarter of the season gone. And if you're adrift, it can be bloody hard to get back. So that's my fear, that he does fail, but we're going to give him the excuses because of the opposition we've got. It's a tricky one.
I'm not letting you off this one, Shipstones. Sorry.
Just before you answer him, Dino, just for your answer. And let me just say, right, as far as I'm concerned, I hit the reset button after the Crystal Palace match. Everyone got a clean slate. Everyone still has a clean slate because this is pre-season. Yeah. However, if Cooper messes up the first 10, 15 games, whatever it is, I will change my opinion. If he flies and does what he should be doing, I will have an opinion on that as well. My opinion is not fixated, and nor will it change game by game. Yeah. It's a progressive thing. And, if you want to be someone who has a fixed opinion and will never change, that's entirely up to you. I don't agree with that thinking. I think if you're ever presented with new facts or new logic or whatever, then you should consider and then reevaluate your opinion. It's up to you how you decide it. And also, we'll never, ever here shy away from talking about these taboo subjects and all this
Absolutely.
stuff, and nor will we screen anyone's opinion. If you agree with me, if you agree with Ez, if you agree or disagree with whoever, that's fine. That's the whole point of this channel, and that's why we kind of do what we do. So that's the point I'm making. Sorry, Dino, you wanted to respond.
No, I was just going to say, and the problem
Dino.
Sorry, no. Well, I tried to say something. No, go on, Dino.
Sorry, okay, I'll come back to you after Dino's one.
No, it's all right. No, it's all right. Yeah.
Chipstone's right. So it's not just me that has ambition. You know, I want us to progress. I'd like to see, I think 10 more points this season is progression. Okay. But I don't think we'll get that. I can't see where that's going to come from personally as we stand today. Now, there's 2 weeks left before the start of the season, and we could have a decent couple in a transfer window. But at the end of the day, Marinakis shares my view, like we all do. He's really ambitious. And if you only knew how close Cooper was to the sack last year, you'd be gobsmacked. He was a hair's breadth.
100%. And we know that for a fact. So you guys can think what you want to think, but what you can, it's really strange. We're not even saying Cooper out. We're just seeing how long he will last. And if you actually think Shipstone, you think he'll last the season, regardless of what happens. And that was debate last season. It wasn't Cooper in, Cooper out. It was, do you want to stay up enough? You know, do you want to do everything in your capabilities to keep the club in the Premier League for one more season? And that's all we ever wanted. And we didn't think at times that Cooper was capable of doing that. For the long haul, if it doesn't improve, he isn't capable of doing that for a second season. Second season syndrome is a bit of a myth. Most only, I think a quarter of the clubs actually go down in this, who managed to stay up the first season, go down in that second season. So it is a bit of a myth. But we do need to see progression. And that needs to happen on the field. So whatever we're doing behind the scenes in terms of trying to get players in and trying to get the recruitment now, Cooper, ideally what Cooper wants, I think we're trying to bend to help him. And if he can't then get a tune out of those players, then ultimately he's responsible. And I don't care where we finished last season, because it's not about what happened before. It's about what we're going to be doing going forward. And it'll mean nothing. If we go down again, if we go down this season without a whimper, then what does last season even count for? We've had a little bit, a few more quid in your bank. Doesn't really mean anything.
Shipstones, if he does end up doing well next season, I will put my hands up and say well done. But I just can't see it. I'm of an age now where I've seen it all before.
Yeah, but
I just can't see it.
And
you wanted to say something a while back.
Yeah, the point here is we're not having the debate. We're having the discussion.
No.
Yeah. I haven't asked any one of you.
Well, I'm kind of debating myself, to be honest.
Yeah, but I'm saying the question wasn't Cooper in or out. Is do you think Cooper will be here at the end of next season? I don't know why people get so touchy about a question like that when it's a fair question to be discussed. It'd be like, could you imagine if
hero?
Yeah, but why when we say, do you think Jono will be here at the start of the season? Do you not get this emotional reaction as such? Anyway, moving on. London's asking, I want to hear all of your starting lineups with the current players. We will do that, but that's being done at the live podcast next Sunday. So if you're there, mate, you'll get to see all of that. Okay, we've been going for an hour and a half. I can't believe that. So we're going to wrap it up there, guys. There's so much still to discuss. We could go on for hours. It's been a fantastic stream. And how is it negative for someone to give their fucking opinion? How? I just don't understand it. So what you're saying, what's that guy's name? Ian. So if someone's opinion doesn't agree with you, or someone's persona of what may happen going forward doesn't agree with you, they are wrong. Neither are you right, nor are they right. It's an opinion. Anyway. On that note, we'll be back tomorrow with the daily Forest transfer news, and there is a few things to update you on. If you want to join, and this will be going on, like, I can't wait for next Sunday. There's going to be some tasty debates on getting you guys involved as well. So if you haven't got your tickets, go grab it. Who the fuck has condemned him? Fuck me. Oh my God.
It's been a lovely evening, chat.
Man. Seriously. On that note, thank you all for watching. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new. We'll see you tomorrow. Come on, you Reds.